All right, welcome back to the NABF podcast. My name is Eric Wilbenaw, the president of the Baseball Bluebook, and today we are really excited to have the executive director of the NABF with us, Derek Topik. How are you, sir?
Hey, Eric, I'm doing well, and you?
Man, things are going really well. It's exciting. Summer's all here. I mean, all the heat and everything
It
with
is.
it. It's just an exciting time. College World Series is going on right now. The NFL,
Oh yeah, great games.
absolutely, man. They've been so good. MLB is really hitting its strides, and what we're here to talk
Yep,
about is the National Amateur Baseball Federation. So we're hitting the
that's right.
hitting the time of the year with some kind of the planning the year-end tournaments out there. The NABF is certainly known for that. I've been interviewing a ton of coaches around the country that talk
Awesome.
about the value of NABF, what it brings to the game, and the opportunity it really provides. And that's what I want to talk about today
Right.
is from the executive director and being part of the NABF for as long as you have. Really, can you give us just
A
a
long
brief?
time.
Yeah, it's been a while, right? Could you give us a brief
Yes, sir.
history and overview of the National Amateur Baseball Federation?
Sure. We started back in 1914 as a small organization and kind of morphed into a bigger organization with more avenues for players to get exposure. Back in 1914, we had one league, one men's league basically, and then over the years, we've gone to all sorts of divisions. Age wise, we go as low as 6U uh, in Knoxville, Tennessee. We offer events from 8U on up. I'm sorry, 10U on up to men's league. But since I've been around and since 1994, when I first joined the NABF, we've grown and we've gotten some facilities, that we're helping out and we're hosting a lot more tournaments than we have in the past. Where we've kind of changed our model a little bit, gone from straight leagues. We're kind of getting some independent teams now also to join our event. So it's been a good transition for us.
That's great. Explain to us what the mission and vision of the NABF is.
Well, the mission and vision is to bring baseball to everybody, to all groups. No matter what the age, no matter what the skill level. Um, give them the tools to become better ball players and individuals. In my mind, um, give them the opportunities to showcase those skills in front of college coaches and pro scouts eventually down the road, like we're doing at the High School World Series in Knoxville with our Blue Book Showcase and Five Tool Showcase. And to grow it, like I said, we're looking at women's baseball, girls baseball right now in different avenues and bringing, expanding our role in the world of baseball. We've gotten into the Caribbean a little bit. We're expanding hopefully into Australia a little bit here. So there's, some exciting things happening with NABF.
That's fantastic. You talked about exposing kids, growing the game of baseball, which is fantastic.
Right.
Derek, there's a lot of leagues, there's a lot of organizations that are really doing this. What stands out with the NABF to really kind of the what most parents and players are exposed to today? What really could
Right.
you talk about it that sets you apart and stands out with the difference?
Right. One, it's value. We give a value back to, our teams and our leagues and the parents. One, for the leagues, it's the cost. For us, we're very inexpensive. It costs about $300 for your league to join. And then depending on what age you play, your tournament costs can run anywhere from $425 to $850. And in today's day and age, when teams are paying $1,500, $2,000, um, to play an event, and they're doing it every single weekend, so the value for that is right there for parents, and players. We have some very, very highly skilled coaches and who are in the game to teach the game. And throughout our leagues. We have some great leagues up in Struthers, Ohio, and in Cleveland, Ohio, and Knoxville, Tennessee, down in Jackson, Mississippi, where I am. Where we put an emphasis on teaching the game. And another value once again is Blue Book for us.
Mhm.
With baseball Blue Book, these kids get profiles, they get exposure to college coaches. We're setting up these showcases. We got one for sure. We want to do more,
Yep.
and we want to teach the game and let them enjoy it.
So Derek, how do you do it? So it's value. You hear value, the costs that you see out there. I actually saw an article today
Right.
from TD Ameritrade that said 37% of baseball families are digging into their savings and to their
Yeah,
IRAs to pay for travel ball.
it's crazy.
Is that not
Yeah,
insane? So
it is, and with travel ball, there's when it first started, there are very few teams out there, and so when you went to an event, you played really really good teams. Now some of these events, you got hundreds of teams
right,
that are in one event, and you're lucky if you get to play at a main field. You're in some events you're having to travel hour and a half to 2 hours
yep,
to play a game. And there's no scout, no college coach who's going to those
right,
events. They're all staying at the main field.
yep,
And so for parents to have to do that, it's ridiculous. They've been sold a bill of goods that is no good. Here in Mississippi, my league, we play at junior colleges every weekend. And so we're in front of college coaches every weekend. And it costs us maybe $450 a weekend to do that.
wow.
And so the value, for these parents is tremendous. You get eyes on,
So also
and
how
you're
do
not traveling far.
Well, Derek, how are you guys doing it? Are you guys, is that just, is it volunteer based? Is it because you're not, I mean, how are you getting quality coaches? That's the question I'm going to get from parents and players is like, well,
Right.
all the scouts and all the big coaches, the colleges are going to go to these other events because that's what they're
Right.
saying. Talk about kind of how you
Yeah.
guys are able to do this and how are we getting coaches? How are you getting coaches to an NABF event? You just talked about playing at the junior colleges, which is awesome. I didn't
Right.
even know that. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Oh yeah.
But kind of talk about the big picture of really what the NABF events, how are you doing it and where are you guys going and what are you really offering to these
Right.
parents and players?
Well, but one, we're offering good baseball, uh, from top to bottom. The fields are awesome. They're well maintained. We got umpires, we got scoreboards that work. That's one of the biggest things I hear from parents when they go to a tournament. Well, the scoreboard doesn't work. Nobody drags the field.
Yeah.
Nobody cleans out the dugouts. So those are the things right there because we care about the experience that the players get and the parents get. And I've been coaching and running my local organization since, oh golly, 1995. No, I take that back. 1986 is when I started coaching in my local organization. And then in 93 we became NABF.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, it was a good group of people who cared about baseball, volunteers, um, who wanted to give back to the community. These parents, like you said, they pay all this money, and for us, we're a 501c3 nonprofit,
Right.
and so that adds value also uh, to what these parents get. I've seen parents, spend $12,000 a year
Yep.
just for travel baseball, and the best they get out of it is a scholarship offer from a small D3 school, which they would have got anyway if they had played in our local NABF league. So it's about
Yep.
expectations, and parents today have blown out expectations, in my opinion. They got to really sit back and let their kid get evaluated. You got these mega organizations out there. I'm talking about organizations that have 30 and 35 teams in their organization. and all it is a moneymaker. Uh, they feed these little teams, smaller teams. They feed their one premier team, where players play for free. Everybody else is footing the bill. They got paid coaches, and they got some good coaches. But when you're in it for the money, in my opinion, you lose sight of what's out there.
It's a catch-22 because there's a lot of money in it,
It is,
and there's the upper
no
levels who's
doubt.
got so much money in it. But what I love about
Yeah,
the NABF, and it's similar to American Legion, it's a lot of these legacy
right.
type programs that it really goes
Yes,
back to the love of the game. And I think one of the things
it does.
we talked about Walter Beatty being a special guest at the showcase that's coming up. He and I talk about it
Oh
all
yeah,
the time.
that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and we talk about it all the time. It's not necessarily that the travel leagues or these other things are bad. It's expectations, and you
No,
pointed that out, Derek,
right.
very well. Is it's the
And if
expect
and if and I've seen, yeah, and I've seen players who, for example, I had one player many years ago who just was dying to go to Mississippi State and play baseball, and he wasn't a D1 caliber player.
right,
And so but he had plenty of offers from some smaller D1s and D2s, powerhouses, and he said, "Well, if it's not Mississippi State, I'm not playing baseball. I'll just go there and go to school." And I'm going, "Okay." So, you know, so it's that expectation level. Kids
yeah,
are sold, "Hey, you got to go here, you got to go there," and that's not it. Mississippi, easiest way to a D1 scholarship is through a junior college.
right.
And so that's what we tell these guys. And it's, I've got coaches who are, as you know, who coach, who played for me, who are coaching throughout the Mississippi junior college system and high school baseball. And it's awesome.
It really is. It's really exciting. The thing that we are excited about is the education side, right? So you talk about the
Right.
NABF being around since 1914, the Baseball Blue Book been around since 1909. We like to focus on
Oh
our
yeah.
legacy and what
Yeah.
we're
Great partnership.
exactly and bringing to the game. And I think one of those things is
Right.
the education to the parents, right? It's you talked about
It is.
Mississippi, right? I talk to coaches all the time down there. They're going, "Hey, this is a great opportunity to go from because we're feeder, right? We come in, we develop, we
Right.
build these, and I and it's just that education, and that's one of the things I love
It
about the
is.
NABF. Yeah, go ahead.
And it's not just in the States, it's overseas too.
Yeah,
Because we're kind of expanding into the Caribbean a little bit, and Buzz can tell you this for sure. Just talking to some of the parents there in the Caribbean, they have no idea what it takes to get into a
right,
college in the States or a high school in the States, and they pay money to these programs that says, "Hey, we'll get you into a college and this and that, or we'll get you into high school," and they pay all this money, and they have an expectation level, and the kid can't even get into high school, or he can't even get into the college because he doesn't have the grades, or he
right.
doesn't have whatever, and it's a shame. So we want to change those things. We want to help kids out any way we can.
I think you add a certain level of knowledge that you may not get a lot of
Right.
places, right? You're a high school educator. I know that Buzz is probably a
Right.
number of these volunteers to the NABF. They really
Yes, they
understand
are.
what it takes to get to that next level. And I talk to coaches all the time about finding the right fit. And the baseball component is probably the last thing that these kids need to even think
It
about,
is.
right? And so,
It is. The, I said the college coach, he asks about grades. He asks about,
right,
the family dynamic, what kind of kid is he? Not necessarily what, how far he can hit the ball or anything like that. They want a family. And if you can't be part of that family, they're not going to have you very long.
It's funny because, and this is my own little side note, is that's why we have metrics and we have stats. Baseball already knows how
That's
good
right.
people are, right? And it's really
That's right.
finding that right fit, the team dynamics. Are they going to do well in school? What type of
Right.
school is it? Is it, urban or rural? That's why I love doing my podcast,
Hmm.
inviting these coaches on and just talking about them. One of the things that I've really enjoyed, Derek, is talking with former players of yours or former coaches, and one of
Right.
them was Coach Reiser out of Memphis. I know that
Yes.
his backstory is I think you called him up one day and said, "Hey, would you like to coach?" And he's like, "Okay." So talk a bit about
Yeah.
the relationships of the players and then early coaches that are now continuing to move on and doing some really great things.
Yeah, he's a great example of a coach, a player. Somebody who I knew. He had a brother in our team on our team, and he had a great baseball background, and needed something to do, and called him up, and hey, he coached, and coaching from there led to another opportunity
Yep.
for him to coach in college, and then next thing you know, he's at Southeastern Louisiana, and then next thing you know, he's the head coach of University of Memphis. Another great one, uh, Mike Federico
Yep.
at ULM in Monroe. Um, you know, back in golly the late '90s, I get a call from a kid from Slidell, Louisiana. Hey, how can I try out for your team? I said, hey, come on up. He drives from Slidell, tries out, and he was a good ball player,
Yep.
and so hey, we got a spot, so on and so forth. Want you to play. Um, so he played, and from there, he was a senior. From there, he got a scholarship to Hines Community College, right there, local. And so he played there 2 years, and then he went on, some more, and went to Southern Miss, played there. And then next thing you know, he's a junior college coach, and next thing you know, he's coach here and there, and now he's head coach at ULM. And it's just those types of things. I mean, talking about players too. Roy Oswald
Yeah.
played for us, who pitched for the Astros, and got a call from a junior college coach. Hey, I got this guy. He's a young kid, eligible. He needs to pitch this summer. Can he throw for you? I said, yeah. Send him down, and I'll throw with him. Try him out. I didn't know who he was, and he shows up. And we start throwing. It's just me, him, and his parents, and we're at an old field
Yeah.
in Jackson with bad lighting. It's at basically at night, and so I squat down, no gear on, and say, all right, throw me some. It took about 5 pitches,
Right.
some fastballs, and he threw his awesome curveball,
Right.
which was unbelievable,
Yep.
you know. And after 5 pitches, I said, oh, okay, that's enough. And I said, hey, here's the schedule. Tell me when you want to pitch. And he said, no, coach, I'll be at every single game,
Wow.
And so he was at every game.
That's great.
And he was awesome. And he went on to help us win a World Series in 1996 with NABF 18U, and then he went on to his career there
Yep.
with Astros. So it's those types of things.
You know what? These are the things that really I love talking about. Right? It's all the
Hmm.
connections,
That's right.
the opportunities. So the NABF guys that we're on with Derek Topik, the executive director for the NABF, and just talking about kind of the history, where we're going. As we conclude here, Derek, give us a little snapshot into what you've got in store for the NABF for maybe, let's say, the next 3 to 5 years. You mentioned girls
Okay.
baseball. Talk a bit about kind of
Right.
the big picture of what you guys want to see and what you're doing.
Right. And we have events from 8U all the way up to men's division. One of our goals was to find a facility um, in the United States where we can help either renovate or
Yep.
just partner with a facility. And we found one there in Knoxville, Tennessee, Christenberry Park, where we helped them renovate it, turf the facility. They're running 31 events for us there. They're running our high school division World Series. Um, Struthers, Ohio. You got Bob Scene Park there, which is a tremendous facility. They're doing our 14, 16, 18, and College Division World Series.
Awesome.
Awesome facility. We got our men's league that's up in Napierville, Illinois, and it was in Battle Creek, Michigan for many years before that. So great event up there. We got 8U, 10U, and in New York area. And what we want to see is just growth. We want, we get anywhere from 10 to 24 teams right now playing in these events. And so we would love to have anywhere from 24 to 48 teams,
Yep.
Playing in these events. We've got hopefully a team from Aruba coming down to the High School World Series. We got a team from Canada coming to the High School World Series. So, we want to have a world growth also within the NABF. Women's baseball, I've got some people in Australia right now who are dying to send women's teams, girls teams to the States.
That's awesome.
Just to play baseball. So those are things, we want to see, younger ages all the way up to men's and girls divisions. And just, keep growing, keep the grassroots
Yep.
is like what I like to call it, and keep educating the parents, keep doing these showcases with Baseball Blue Book. I'd love to see one at all our events,
Right.
Where we're doing a showcase. We're giving these guys the metrics they need,
Yep.
And the avenue to be seen by the college coaches. And it's the cost, you can go to a showcase and pay $200 for a showcase, and for us, I think we charge like $50.
Yep.
For a showcase, which to me is unbelievable. And plus, you're getting the better exposure in my mind, because all those things go on Baseball Blue Book. Our sponsors have been awesome. Diamond Baseball, they've been awesome. Hoosier Bats, just helping us provide things for the events. Arizona Glove Man, great company, does quality gloves. They're providing MVP awards for us,
That's
handmade baseball gloves, so I want to thank all those people for everything they do, for us also.
It is really exciting, right? Kind of the highlight of the legacy of baseball. I always think of NABF as Americana. One of the things,
right.
If you're listening to this podcast and want more information, you can go to play.nabf.com, also just nabf.com. We also have
Right.
all the links on the baseballbluebook.com, all the social links.
Right.
Find out more information. Get involved. The thing that I'm starting to see with my interviews across the board is it's almost small town USA, Americana.
It is.
And then I made a comment on social, and then I had a response saying we're doing it up in Chicago, and so don't leave out the big cities as well. So interviewed the Hamstra up in the Chicago Urban League.
Sam.
Yep. And so it's really, guys, I really encourage you guys to start following. Get to know these guys. They're your local high school coaches. It's your local parents. These are volunteers that absolutely love the game. Great information, great instruction, and boy, I'll tell you what, the links and the networking that they have to players and coaches across the country, it's second to none. That's what it's about. If you're talking to a recruiter, talking to somebody, it's always their Rolodex. And I don't know a Rolodex bigger than the NABF's.
Yeah. Got a lot of contacts.
A lot of contacts. Guys, I appreciate joining us at the Baseball Blue Book hosted event, NABF podcast. Check us out. Follow us. We're going to be around just continuing to bring light and exposure to the National Amateur Baseball Federation. Derek, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good one. You're welcome.